Russian roulette you. I'm gonna roulette it, and then you're gonna end up on a random team. But you get to choose 3 teams that you are like, heck no, get me away from them. I do not want to control that franchise. Give me your 3 teams.
Well, my first team is Milwaukee because Giannis, you have a decision to make with Giannis, and this offseason mainly is the offseason where you make or break Giannis's career. Basically, if you get him help and you make it far into the playoffs, possibly a finals, you're going to keep Giannis and you're going to be set for the future. But if you don't make that improvement to the roster and you don't make it far, he's probably going to be gone. And I have the Pacers as my second team because, well, you got Miles Turner, you got Victor Oladipo, and Turner was expected to make a leap this year. He kind of didn't. Depot, he's injured a lot, but he wants out, and he really wants to go to Miami. I mean, that's like he kind of has been pointing to that nonstop. Like, he probably wants Miami more than Miami wants him.
Can league sources confirm that?
Well, I've seen it on Twitter, so yeah.
So, but has James Ham tweeted that out?
No, he hasn't. Not yet. Okay. He'll do that around like February. But I'm sorry, but you have a decision to make because you're a small market team, and they have done a really good job of finding value in trades and finding value in draft picks. I mean, they got Oladipo and Sabonis from Oklahoma City for Paul George, but now you're now at a crossroads where you have to choose, like, do I try to get these guys happy again, or do I trade them? Because if they leave, you better draft well because you're not going to get big name free agents to come to Indiana. Sorry. And then my third team, and this one shocked the mirror, is the Los Angeles Clippers. And I know on paper their rosters look really good, but you have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard who have a chance to opt out next year and head into the 2021 free agency. If they leave, you don't have any picks really for the next couple of years because of that Paul George trade. And then you're left with a team. You have 2 gaping holes at forward position, and you're really in trouble if you can't. Plus, you have a curse. You have a curse you have to deal with. No one knows where the curse came from, but
Clipper
there's
Darrell?
for some reason. Yeah, Clipper Darrell. He's the one that did it. Nah, I'm playing. I just don't see how that would be an ideal situation. Now, if one of them was locked up past next year, then I'd be like, oh, at least you'll have one of them. But if they both leave at the same time and you have no picks, rest in peace.
I definitely agree with Milwaukee and Indiana. I had Milwaukee on my list, but I kind of decided to bump them off because I saw some other situations that are probably worse because at the end of the day, they'll still get some picks for Giannis. Indiana, same thing. I can definitely see where you're going with that. They're small markets, tough situation. And the Clippers, I think the one argument I will say is that look at the owner. You know, you don't have Donald Sterling there. You got Steve Ballmer, and that's a guy that's willing to literally pay for – he's willing to buy you like just LeBron. He'll buy LeBron out, I think. At some point, he's just going to buy – he's going to pay for equipment that will make the best possible basketball player ever. Because we don't know how much money Steve Ballmer has. We just know that it's endless, and he's willing to spend it as much as he can to get this team to that next level. So I would love to work for a guy like Steve Ballmer. I understand the situation at hand. It is – you're put in a very you're very constrained in that situation. So my 3, first off, I start with the Rockets. I think you got a horrible contract in Russell Westbrook. When they traded for Chris Paul, that ended up being a backwards trade. So they gave up Chris Paul and multiple, I believe 3 first-round picks to get Russell Westbrook. So not only did they get the worst player, they gave up the better player and gave up multiple first-round picks. On top of that, you have a guy like James Harden who is impossible to keep happy. I mean, you want to keep him happy, you're not going to win a championship. I'll tell you this right now. He's not winning a championship if you're keeping him happy. And if you're not keeping him happy, good luck. What is he going to do for you? I think there is a market for Harden. I don't think it's the same market you're getting for another superstar.
Yeah, it's not what you'd expect.
Exactly, and I think Houston is a difficult situation. They don't have much talent besides that. They gave away Capella. They don't even know what a center means. So it's a difficult situation if you're a Rockets GM. Another situation I would say is a little bit obvious is the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know who in the right mind would want to be working for Dan Gilbert. I mean, he is a horrible owner. He is lucky, Caleb.
Oh, he is.
If you can find me another guy named LeBron James that's not his son, that's not a junior, let me know, because that's the next time the Cavs will ever be good. Ever.
Yeah. They're in a really bad situation. Their market is like the Pacers, but they don't have the talent, and they're an even smaller market.
Good luck, Cleveland. Have fun. At least you guys won your rings. You're not winning again. Or you're one ring. And my last team I will say is the Hornets. Same situation. Charlotte. I don't know how many players really want to be there. Playing for Michael Jordan. You talked a little bit about this earlier, Caleb. I think that's, again, you're having a guy who's trying to control everything, who thinks he knows what he's doing, who is not – I mean, ever since Michael Jordan's been the owner, we haven't seen the Hornets have any type of success. If anything, they lost Kemba Walker for nothing. So their only talented player, they lost him for nothing. What do you think of their ownership?
It's just – whenever you go in there and be a GM, like, you're going to have to answer to Michael Jordan. Like, he's going to call the shots at the end of the day. You're just going to be the fall guy for when things go bad. And I do think Hornets fans realize that over the past, 3 years. They're like, wait a minute. This is all Jordan doing all this.
I will say the one benefit that they do have is they have the Jordan logo on their jersey.
I am shocked that he's not able to land bigger free agents. Like, who's his best free agent? Terry Rozier? It might be Terry Rozier. Like, that might be his main get.
I think a lot of it has to do with who he is and his ego. I don't think the younger players see him as Mike. You know, that the way
we see him as fans.
The way we may see him is not the way, these younger generations sees him. And I think they look at someone like him. I mean, I even saw a poll from NBA players. I think it was from this draft class. There was multiple players that believe Kevin Durant is the GOAT. And the talent reason for that makes a lot of sense. But when you're talking GOATs, it's interesting to see the dynamic of change, because I remember when we were younger, we were saying, LeBron and Kobe, and that was already outlandish to Jordan fans. But nowadays it sounds a lot more normal. Durant is like the same thing with us. We're just like, man, Kevin Durant, well, what has he done? And they look at it differently. They look at it as, well, it's not about his championships, but it's about his skill set. How many players have had a skill set? I get that. And I think no one, again, going back to the Hornets, I don't think people want to play for Charlotte. I don't think people want to play for Jordan. He does a terrible job. Like you said, he is Michael Jordan. We have Rich Paul landing, guys. There's no way Michael Jordan shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, there's zero excuse for him struggling like this.
Our honorable mention from the both of us was your famous New York Knicks. We had the Knicks in there. No one wants to play for James Dolan, horrible owner.
He's like Michael Jordan minus the credibility. He's like Michael Jordan minus this, the fame. Exactly,
and I think the one thing about the Knicks that separates themselves from the Hornets, which is why they didn't put them on the list, is they're in New York. Eventually, there's going to be players that are going to want to be in New York. I know we keep saying this. I know we say this every year, but there has to be, right? Hello?
Eventually, someone's going to go. Someone's going to be like, I'll do it. And
someone's going to be like, I'll sacrifice myself. That's it. If someone's got to die, I'll do it.
Oh, man. I'm surprised that no player has yet. I really thought Kyrie and KD were going to go there. And then they said, no, we're going to go to Brooklyn. That had to sting.
I told so many people that Kyrie and KD are going into the Knicks. They're going to the Knicks. They're going to – I was dead on for that for a year. And I was completely shocked when I found out they went to the Knicks. Bro,
that had to sting extra, because for so long it's always been like, oh, sure, they won't come here, but they'll go somewhere else, like LA or something.
Yeah, but they're not going to the Nets.
They don't want to play in New York, but not for the Knicks, which if you ask anybody really realistically – before they went there, if you said who's New York's team for basketball, they're going to say the Knicks.
No one's saying the Nets.
Yeah.
Nobody. No. That's our spooky situations. Let us know if you guys have any. And no, don't bring up the Kings, because if you were the Kings GM, all you have to do is just not be a complete idiot. Right, Caleb?
Yeah, the bar is so low. Just don't do what look at what Vladi did and do the opposite, and you'll be good.
Just don't do it. Anything you see Vladi did, just write it down and say, don't do this. And then you're good. You'll literally get an extension, and you'll get most likely a statue outside the arena if your team is even close to the playoffs. Much less make the playoffs, good luck. You're going to get carried around the city. So don't bring that up.